Coming up next on this YouTube exclusive edition of the RCWR Show, we give you guys all the fixins from what you might have missed from tonight's WWE Raw as it came to us from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Jam-packed card tonight. We had Chris Jericho, John Cena, The Undertaker, CM Punk, Triple H, Brock Lesnar. Remember, folks, Lesnar, Triple H, they ended up meeting for a contract signing. And Triple H would not know the stipulation of his match against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania until he signed on the dotted line. Also, key highlights was the triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship as Chris Jericho takes on Miz, taking on Intercontinental Champion Wade Barrett. The WrestleMania pay-per-view starts to take shape as more matches come into light. We give you guys the 411 right now. It's the RCWR Show, YouTube exclusive, covering the fallout from WWE Raw, and it begins right now.
The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond. You're listening to the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders.
Welcoming you to this YouTube exclusive edition of the RCWR Show on March 18th, 2013. Thank you all so much for checking this out right now. Do hope you enjoy this post show. And if you end up liking it, be sure to go out of your way, leave a comment, and or hit that subscribe button in that upper right hand corner so that you never miss out, as we always post exclusive goodies like what you're checking out right now, as well as web exclusives. So make sure you add this, subscribe. This is definitely one of the channels you want to be checking out, as we're always uploading stuff on a weekly basis. So we are now 20 days until WrestleMania 29 from New Jersey, as just a jam-packed episode is what we had got tonight. Need I mention that we also had got the announcement of the newest inductee into the 2013 Hall of Fame. Hey, let's kick it off from the very beginning, folks. We had John Cena, the C Nation leader, come out to kick things off on WWE Raw. You knew that this was going to happen if you were checking out our weekend edition of the RCWR Show, and you were also checking now our website over at InfinityOneProductions.com. We put out there the key points to look for in tonight's episode of Raw. And one of the points that was mentioned was look for John Cena, or possibly The Rock, mainly John Cena, to return to Raw this week to help further along the rivalry / storyline between he and Dwayne The Rock Johnson for that WWE title. Now, this week, it really did not come off on television, as I'm quite sure it also came off rather lukewarm to the fans in attendance, one of which we have to give a big shout out to, named Ursula, who was at tonight's event giving us updates all throughout the night, letting us know if the crowd reaction that we were picking up on the television had for certain matched what she was experiencing in attendance, and about 95 to 99% of what we were experiencing at home was exactly what she was experiencing. And this was definitely a lukewarm segment. We saw a mixed reaction from the crowd, as some booed Cena, some were cheering on The Rock. John Cena telling Dwayne The Rock Johnson that in 20 days, his time is up, as he and the WWE Universe, their time will be now. And that he knows that there's probably still some people that are a little bit on the fence about whether or not they're rooting for Cena or they want to root for The Rock, as Cena tells them they have 20 days to make up their minds. And he also promises that this time around he is not going to proclaim victory, as he feels it's just too premature, but vows that he is more focused and determined than ever to take on the people's champion, The Rock, for that title. Well, just as this segment seemed like it was kind of dragging on, we kind of got a little bit of a pick-me-up from one Titus O'Neil and Darren Young, the primetime players. As we saw Titus O'Neil dressed as Pancake Rufus. So good what they had did in that WWE Raw Active segment from last week. I guess Vince and crew, they decided they wanted to see this again play out on Raw. Although I felt the execution was a little bit too poor. Seemed like the first 2 minutes, it was funny. But then as time just went on, it just seemed like it was really dragging. Really seemed like it was fumbling. And if you kind of are familiar with John Cena from over the years, you know how he can kind of be when he is talking about another wrestler, especially one that's kind of a little bit beneath him, seeing as how he's done it all in the WWE. Now, what some may have thought was a pretty interesting gimmick from Titus O'Neil, we just saw John Cena with his razor-like tongue just put down the gimmick within seconds. Basically, he's telling Titus O'Neil that he knows a couple of great psychiatrists that are in Pittsburgh that can help him out with his little mental problem that he's having. It wasn't exactly a ha-ha. I mean, if Edge or Chris Jericho would have said it, it really would have came off ha-ha funny. But this was a moment right here where it just kind of felt like John Cena was just bashing the gimmick, bashing the man behind the gimmick. That's just really how it was playing out in my mind. And I just couldn't wait for this segment to end because, quite honestly, as soon as John Cena came out and he started talking about The Rock, it just kind of felt like it was nothing but recycled stuff. It just kind of really came off as if there really wasn't anything new that John Cena could have said this week. And quite honestly, I really could have settled on not seeing John Cena on this episode because he sure as heck did not wrestle tonight. I mean, that was pretty much it for John Cena. This was the only time we had got him, was in the opening segment of this match. And correction, folks, we did actually see him in the match. I almost have forgot about it because it lasted that long. That's how short the match was, as he basically challenged Darren Young to a match. And I am not joking with you guys, as this match was underway after the 11-minute mark of Raw being on the air, they went to a commercial break. Now, if you had the WWE Raw Active app, then you were able to check out the match in its entirety. As soon as Raw came back on USA from commercial break, the match was over in like 40 seconds. I mean, it was pretty much John Cena, attitude adjustment, match is over. So you're kind of like, okay. So what's next on the card for tonight? Well, what was next on the card was the return of David Otunga. Remember, he does make an appearance in Halle Berry's new movie, The Call. So I guess it only served a little bit right to have him make a little cameo tonight, as he was back wrestling. Hey, all right, we finally get David Otunga. Well, the person that he's taking on tonight is none other than Mr. Feed Me More Ryback. And this was another squash match. Now, I don't know about you guys that did not see WWE Raw, but so far we're seeing two quick squash matches. You can't help but kick back and go, okay, is this pretty much the theme of the night? Is this squash night? Come on, let's pick it up a little bit. Well, it would pick up in a big way, folks. We got to see the one and only Fandango come out. It looked as if he was going to be having a match against the Great Khali. And you know how they've been doing Fandango within the course of weeks now. They've had him come out, try to have people say his name, and they fumble it, and he doesn't wrestle, and he blames them for screwing up his name. Well, based on the actions that had went down on SmackDown this past Friday night, where Great Khali had fumbled announcing Fandango's name, this had upset Fandango to no end, to the point where he decided he wanted to fight him on tonight's Raw. And we saw talk about a epic entrance from Fandango, something that I haven't seen since this man has popped up with this gimmick. Of course, he being Johnny Curtis, now being redubbed as Fandango. He had got the nice glitter entrance stage, had the nice little silver shiny curtains coming all out. He gets in the ring and he hits his pose with his dancer, and you see these fireworks, awesome fireworks at that, kind of similar to Chris Jericho almost, just pop up behind him, and it starts to take his shape that he usually does when he does his little dancing pose there. And you're just saying to yourself, as soon as you see this, well, if WWE's investing the pyro into this guy, they must really have big things planned for his future. I mean, this guy is getting more proper treatment than Damian Sandow in those first couple of months that he made his impact felt on the SmackDown brand. Well, once again, we see Fandango try to get a person to say his name correctly. This time, it's the beautiful and the lovely Natalya that he wants to step up to the task. And it does kind of sound as if Natalya is actually able to say the name, as she says, Fandango. Get him, Great Khali. And Great Khali charges at Fandango, but Fandango, he quickly makes his exit in time, tells Great Khali and everybody else that they just missed out on a huge opportunity as they blew it once again. They are responsible for the WWE Universe not being able to see him make his debut tonight. As I was kicking back watching this, I just couldn't help but think to myself, you know what? 9 times out of 10, we're probably not going to see this guy wrestle until WrestleMania. I mean, when was the last time we saw a wrestler have a debut match at WrestleMania? It's been that damn long, and the list, quite honestly, is very, very short. So I was enjoying what happened with this segment right here, and you want to talk about the faith that WWE has in Fandango. We would later see him in a backstage segment with the one and only Ayatollah of Rock and Roller, Chris Y2J Jericho, as he was in a backstage segment being interviewed by Josh Matthews. And this was so hilarious. We see Fandango, who just pops up, and he tries to get Chris Jericho to pronounce his name. And Chris Jericho starts torturing the hell out of this poor guy's name. He starts calling him Fandango, Fandango Tango, Fandugo. I mean, he just goes all over the place. Pisses off Fandango. He has no choice but to walk away without first saying to Chris Jericho, he is going to make it be his business to make Jericho say his name and get it right. And as we see him walk away, we see Chris Jericho. He said, hey, wait a minute, come back. I need to order 2, maybe 3 movie tickets. I got to go see Dead Man Down this weekend. I mean, classic Jericho segment right here. Very redeeming from that ridiculous highlight wheel with Brad Maddox that we had got last week. I was quite pleased with that. Speaking of Chris Jericho, let's not forget he was in that triple threat match for the Intercontinental title against Wade Barrett and The Miz. It was the main event match of the night. This was a match that I loved. It was really worth sticking around to see on Raw. It got the true proper spotlight that it should have gotten. And in that, shockingly, folks, as many people were under the impression that maybe we were going to see Fandango interfere in this match and cost Chris Jericho his opportunity at becoming the 10-time Intercontinental Champion. That was not the case. There would not be a Fandango. Instead, no interference, not even from Antonio Cesaro. Remember, if you were listening to the RCWR show last week, I had said, hey, maybe we can kind of look for Antonio Cesaro to maybe make a cameo, as he's not quite done with The Miz just yet. Folks, we didn't even get that, and it was very unfortunate, as tonight it was very evident as many fans had took to Twitter and expressed their frustration that there was not an appearance by Antonio Cesaro. We pretty much had saw everybody else except for Antonio Cesaro, the United States champion, which was a little bit ridiculous, quite honestly. But in either case, great triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. Wade Barrett retained, picking up the spoils from the opponents as they were beating up on one another for a majority of the match. Let's talk about other matches that we had saw on Raw tonight. We got to see R-Truth in action once again as he made a rare appearance here. He had took on Damian Sandow, the intellectual savior. You're welcome! Well, with regards to this particular match, it was pretty good the first 5 minutes. You could really get behind it, but unfortunately, the match ended because Damian Sandow decided that he was going to kick on back once he realized he was about to get his ass beat and hop outside the ring and walk on to the back. I got to pull that Isaac Hayes song. Walk on by. Walk on by. I mean, that's exactly what Damian Sandow had did. It was quite freaking ridiculous. WWE Universe, they had took the Tout as Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler. They had wanted to get folks Tout videos on what they thought was going to go down between Brock Lesnar, Triple H, what they thought maybe the stipulation could be for their match at WrestleMania. Now, surprisingly, folks, and he's actually one of our good buddies on Twitter, and we got to show him some love. The Brock Lesnar guy. Yes, the Brock Lesnar guy. He got no freaking love tonight, boys and girls. You know, this guy's been everywhere hitting that pose whenever he can at live WWE events, whenever Brock Lesnar's in the area. We don't get to see a Tout video by the Brock Lesnar fan. I just thought that was kind of ridiculous. I really thought they should have gave him some love. He was actually one of the first people to put a Tout video out there. And the WWE Universe, the WWE, they didn't show him no love. But that's okay. We'll show him some love because he is officially an Infinity One Productions and an official The RCWR Show guy. So show some love to him, Brock Lesnar guy. But once again, fans, you know, Tout videos this week, some was a little bit stupid. We saw a middle-aged, balding guy that tried to sound all comical or whatever. I didn't particularly care too much of that. WWE, however, I think they're listening to me. I think they're listening to our shows because we got the third week in a row now where we got a hot-looking chick talking about what she wants to see happen with the stipulation match between Lesnar and H. I'm loving it. I'm loving the streak that WWE has been on, presenting us with beautiful women. Hey, guys, let's pick it up and let's talk about another segment that was totally worth checking out tonight. It had to do with CM Punk, Mr. Oh Shit, and Undertaker. Undertaker coming out, being a man of few words, tells CM Punk that he sealed his fate last week when he committed the despicable act that he did in tarnishing the memory of his good friend, the late William Paul Bear Moody. Also telling him that no matter what, come 20 days from now at WrestleMania, he will be a dead man. His fate is a done deal. Undertaker is looking to beat him and beat him badly. Well, CM Punk, the voice of the voiceless, the best in the world, former WWE champion for 434 days, made an appearance, but not necessarily made an appearance. You follow what I'm saying, folks? He actually appeared on the Titantron, somewhere in a remote area, backstage. Look at him, he was in the warehouse somewhere. He had the urn in his hands, and he was just doing all types of arm tricks for it. Looked like he needed to be playing for, what's that basketball team? The Globetrotters. Do 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 do. You know the stupid little song. You know the basketball team I'm talking about. Doing all types of tricks with the urn. Notice I called him oh shit. Well, he ended up getting that one because he dropped the urn at one point, and I believe he did this on purpose. And it was just funny. As soon as he dropped it, it was like, it was classic. It was almost like he didn't mean to do it. I just thought it was so brilliant. He just goes, "Oh shit!" He picks up the urn and he says, I didn't mean any disrespect." And that was pretty much the end of that segment right there. CM Punk, he promised Undertaker that he's going to be the one to be 20-1, that he's willing to take on the curse, the burden of being the one to end the Undertaker's streak, as he feels that he can do what other men have failed at doing. So, bold, cocky CM Punk right here. I don't know. Maybe it's the power of the urn. Maybe it's what's inside the urn that CM Punk is inhaling that's making him go, "Oh yeah, I definitely believe that I can do this." I don't know. But another great week of programming between CM Punk and The Undertaker. Once again, I have to say, and I know Diamond K feels a little bit indifferently about this, but once again, man, I got to kick back and say I find the timing of this to be very interesting, that William Paul Bear Moody, he passes away, and we get this new little kick into this storyline between these guys. Much needed, as it just kind of felt like it wasn't really going anywhere. Let's talk about one of the other matches that came about Raw tonight. We saw Kane and Daniel Bryan team up to take on Primo and Epico, and they were able to get a win over these guys despite a little distraction by a cute little devil known as AJ Lee. Remember, folks, AJ Lee, she's been kind of toying with these guys at least the past 2 weeks, and looks like within the past week, Kane and Daniel Bryan, they've somewhat been trying to get back on the same page. Well, hey, that's where it is right there. Looks like it's good that Kane and Daniel Bryan are back on the same page. Well, next match we saw Alberto Del Rio. He was in action as he had defeated Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, maybe it's the mustache, I don't know. It had the Bella Twins on him earlier tonight, as once again Caitlyn had got left feeling the cold shoulder, as Cody was distracted by twins and 4 quadruple puppies. Poor Cody Rhodes. Hey, at least he was in a really good place. He's okay. He don't need Caitlyn, right, guys? Well, Cody Rhodes, I think he could have used Caitlyn in his corner tonight, as we sure as hell didn't see the Bella Twins in his corner, as he tapped out to Alberto Del Rio's cross arm breaker like a big crybaby. Well, post-match, Jack Swagger would get the jump on Del Rio. Ricardo Rodriguez tried to jump in there, help out his friend, but he too had got a licking, as Swagger made quick work of Del Rio, just beating him up all around the ring before slamming him into the steel steps. But it wasn't over. We saw Swagger focus his attack next on Ricardo Rodriguez, applying that trademark ankle lock, and looks like he may have broken Ricardo's ankle, as in a WWE Raw Active exclusive, paramedics came, put him on a stretcher, helped take him out. So, hey, you want to send your speedy wishes or what have you, you go on ahead and you can send it to Ricardo on Twitter. But the way it's looking right now, I think Alberto Del Rio, if I'm doing this right, I have Alberto Del Rio seeking revenge between Main Event and SmackDown, trying to figure out a way to get Zeb Coulter in a spot where he's alone. Hey, take him out with a cross arm breaker. That way you kind of have the managers and all that be put to the side. Let it come down to Jack Swagger taking on Alberto Del Rio one-on-one. Let's switch gears now and talk about one of the other main highlights from tonight's WWE Raw, folks, where it was that contract signing between Triple H and Brock Lesnar. Now, we would not see Brock Lesnar come out alongside Paul Heyman, this would actually play to the effect of what I had said over the weekend, which was expect for Paul Heyman to come out and toy with Triple H. As we've seen in the past, whenever it's Triple H and Paul Heyman in the ring together, these guys, they deliver a classic freaking segment. And that's exactly what we got tonight. As we saw Paul Heyman, Triple H, they're in the ring. Triple H, he's wondering, where's Brock Lesnar? Is Brock Lesnar scared? Paul Heyman says on the contrary, no, he's not going to come out until Triple H has put his name on the dotted line, and that he is out there along with his security detail to ensure that no harm comes to him. Triple H, he doesn't care. He's just ready to sign the daggone contract so the match can be official, so he can find out what the stipulation is going to be. Well, Paul Heyman, he decides he wants to play around with Triple H for a little bit, tries to play the mind games, and we all have seen in the past how good Heyman is at getting into the head of Triple H, and he gets Hunter where it counts the most by saying, hey, you know, maybe what's going to go down with your match will be Stephanie McMahon is going to be on the line. Then again, maybe that should be going towards the person who's the loser. And that just pisses off Triple H to no end, as he's just seeing bright red and he just starts attacking Paul Heyman. We see the security guards. There was about 3 of them. They tried to get their hands on Triple H, but Triple H, he pretty much had beat the living crap out of 2 of them. One of them was so petrified that he just left the ring and just hauled off. We see Triple H, he is now alone with the former ECW owner as he slams him onto the table, rips his shirt off, and just starts smacking his chest, smacking his face. Paul Heyman is actually bleeding just a little bit on the forehead as Triple H finally signs on the dotted line and tells him to go ahead, call his monster. And the music of Brock Lesnar would come on, and we would see the man in flesh, the man in person, the beast, Brock Lesnar, who has a steel chair in hand, and he is just slamming it on the ground repeatedly as he makes his way towards Hunter. Paul Heyman, though, intervenes, telling him, no, we got him right where we want him. That's it. It's done. Just as it's looking like Raw is about to go off the air, we're left wondering, what is the stipulation for this match at WrestleMania? Well, as Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar would make their way to the ramp area, Paul Heyman would reveal that it would be Triple H and Brock Lesnar going head-to-head at WrestleMania 29 in a no-holds-barred match. I know, that sounds a little bit weak, right? Well, wait for it. There's something a little bit more that's been added to this. The stipulation is that Triple H's career will be on the line. I repeat, Triple H's career will be on the line. So the stakes have gotten very high, and I'm glad that WWE has decided to go down this route. As originally it was expected, maybe it was going to be a MMA type of match that was going to be announced. But hey, you know, I'm glad that that wasn't the case, because they would have had a hard time selling that to the hardcore MMA fans, who a small percentage of them do check out the WWE product. So I'm glad that they didn't go in that direction, and I'm glad that once again we're able to follow up on Brock Lesnar's performance at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view against John Cena with this no-holds-barred type of match. Now, it's already written in stone that Triple H is going to win this hands down. I see no reason why Triple H would lose at WrestleMania to Brock Lesnar, but I think this was just added more to give fuel to Triple H for why he has to really be able to dig down deep and be able to beat Brock Lesnar. I mentioned Extreme Rules because that's probably going to be what we can expect for this match between Triple H, Brock Lesnar. It's definitely going to be a damn good match, hands down. I expect there to be a lot of blood. I expect it to be very physical. I'm just really glad they did not go down the MMA route because they would have alienated a lot of fans. I could just imagine the bashing that WWE would have received on social media for them going the MMA route. So, honestly, I think it would have been a serious backlash waiting to happen for these guys. Also, on WWE tonight, we know we had saw another inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame, and it was none other than the five-time, make it six-time World Heavyweight Champion, none other than Booker T. Hey, best known for his time in WCW. Let's not forget, he did his thing in WWF, WWE for a little bit. Also did his thing in TNA, holding 35 major titles between all of those organizations combined. Most decorated wrestler in WCW history, having held 21 titles respectively in that organization. Hey, just a matter of time before Booker T was going to get his due. And honestly, some people, they may question the timing of this. Some people may feel that Booker T is going in just a little bit too soon. I think on the contrary, I love this. To me, this just speaks large volumes. It kind of speaks to me in a way of how much WWE, at least Vince McMahon and crew, do respect Booker T. I think that for all the stuff that he had went through when he was in the WWE, as he went through a lot of slapstick comedy type of stuff. Hey, let's not forget there was that period though where he gave us some really great content when he was King Booker. His rivalry with Stone Cold Steve Austin in that infamous grocery store segment on SmackDown. That was hilarious. I still remember that to this very day, very vividly. I mean, the man has done it all. And I mean, when you just hear about his background, being that young man that used to hang out with the wrong crowd, and he tried to go into playing football and basketball, and all of a sudden he then went into a life of crime there and went to jail for a little bit and pretty much tried to work on redefining himself while he was in prison, trying to become a better man right then and there and be a better contributor to society. And to just hear the type of story that he's been through, the struggles as a poor kid, growing up in Houston, Texas, in the South Park neighborhood. I mean, really, he has my utmost respect, not only as someone that is a broadcaster that covers the sport of professional wrestling, but also just as a man, and also speaking as someone that's also African American. I'm very proud to see Booker T go into the Hall of Fame, and I think it doesn't get any better. I mean, seriously, you're going to be able to do this in Madison Square Garden. I just think that it's phenomenal, and I think that it's a high honor that on the same Hall of Fame card that we get Donald Trump, Mr. Bob Backlund, Bruno Sammartino, Mick Foley, Trish Stratus, we got Booker T thrown in there as well. I mean, that is just a jam-packed A-list of stars that's going to be inducted this year. I'm so looking forward to the Hall of Fame. This is the best class I have seen in years, and I think they've just been doing a hell of a job. I'm very curious to see how they're going to be able to top next year's Hall of Fame. But congrats go to the one and only Booker T. Other action that we saw on Raw tonight, we saw Randy Orton and Sheamus team up to defeat 3MB. Post-match, the Shields, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, they would actually make an appearance, and they all surrounded the ring. They were getting ready to get the jump there on Orton and Sheamus when all of a sudden, Big Show came in to side with the guys, and it was even 3-on-3, but the Shield members, they decided they did not want to have anything to do with the newly formed trio as they retreated to the crowd section, to the back section. You know how they like to do it. looks like Orton and Sheamus have a lot to think about, as Big Show could be the person that they look to for help in taking on the Shield, as Ryback is no longer their partner, folks. That's right. Mark Henry, remember, he came out earlier in the night during Ryback's match against Otunga, and he was ready to get it on with Mr. Feed Me More right then and there. But the SmackDown and Raw GMs, they intervened, and it was revealed by Vicky Guerrero that Ryback was pulled from that 6-man tag match at Mania, and instead he will be facing the one and only Mark Henry. So we have new matches that are starting to take shape at this year's WrestleMania, as we are now just 21 days away. And for those of you that need an update on the current WrestleMania card, it goes as follows, folks. We have The Rock taking on John Cena for the WWE Championship. Alberto Del Rio will be taking on Jack Swagger for the World Heavyweight title. CM Punk will be facing The Undertaker. Sheamus, Randy Orton, and we might as well pencil it in right now because you know it's going to go that route. Big Show are going to be taking on the Shields, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns in a 6-man tag match. Ryback will be facing Mark Henry in a singles match. Team Hell Knows, Kane and Daniel Bryan, they challenged Dolph Ziggler tonight after his match that he had earlier, as he defeated Kofi Kingston. So, Team Hell No, they challenged Dolph Ziggler and Big E Langston, folks, to a tag match for the tag team titles, and it has been accepted. So, at long last, we're going to get to see the in-ring debut of Big E Langston, and it's going to happen at the biggest stage of them all, WrestleMania. Also, I'm pretty sure we're going to see Chris Jericho and Fandango in action as well. So it's going to be a WrestleMania first. Two guys making their in-ring debuts at Mania. I'm calling it. I know it's a little bit premature, but the route that it's going right now, I think that's exactly where they're going with this. And of course, Brock Lesnar versus Triple H. No holds barred. If Triple H loses, he must retire. All in all, it was somewhat of a lukewarm episode of Raw that had a couple of key highlights. I'm very curious to see how it picks up next week. Remember, we got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He's going to be on the last 2 Raw episodes, and no doubt those are going to be the home runs that's going to be needed to woo fans into checking out this year's WrestleMania. But other than it being somewhat slow tonight would be the best way I could describe it, as the crowd reaction for a majority of the 3 hours did not help. They really weren't much into a lot of the stuff that was playing out on this episode. It was a decent Raw. It definitely was a pass. Scale of 1 to 10, I'd have to give it a modest 6.5, maybe a 6 out of 10. And that's pretty much going to do it. Hey, I got a major announcement I want to share with you guys before we go off the air. We are actually going to be going to the WWE Raw event that will be taking place in DC on April 1st. And folks, I have already secured the tickets. I got some really damn good seats. I'm like going to be literally pretty close to the ring. I got tickets on the way. I want you guys to do me a huge favor. Make sure that you follow us on Twitter at Infinity1Prod. Make sure you also follow our new Twitter handle at the RCWR Show, as we'll be hooking you guys up with photos and tweets all throughout the night of Monday night, April 1st. And I can't wait to start sharing pictures with you. First set of pictures we're going to show you guys is the tickets as they are coming in the mail. So we'll show you that to you all first. And it's just going to be pretty awesome. It's our way of letting you guys know that, hey, we're going to be going on the road to WrestleMania. And it's not only going to stop there. We will be going to New York for WrestleMania weekend to cover a lot of the wrestling events that's going to be happening that weekend. We'll share more details with you on the Tuesday night edition of the RCWR Show, which you can catch this week at 11 p.m. Eastern with myself and Diamond K. We'll go more in depth on key segments from tonight's WWE Raw. We'll also hook you guys up with the very latest in wrestling related news and so much more. So make sure you join me and Diamond K for the Tuesday night Wrestling Report edition of the RCWR Show at blogtalkradio.com/the RCWR Show. Hey, not going to be able to catch it as it's live in progress? No problem. You'll be able to catch our episode on the downloads available in the iTunes marketplace. Just use the keywords, the RCWR Show. And for all your respective portable devices, we encourage you to pick up the Stitcher app. You'll be able to play our episodes on that app. Take it with you on the go. Stitcher, new and smart way to play internet radio. Thank you guys so much for checking out this special exclusive YouTube edition of the RCWR Show. You all be safe and be kind to one another, folks. We will see you this Tuesday night at 11 p.m. Eastern. Everybody, take care.